Today is a big day for the new horse. We are heading to the vet and he's going to get a once over, and also he's going to go ahead and have his teeth done. I got him just over a week ago and he's really starting to spark up now.
Hey, dude.
He has really been enjoying his mash, but he can also eat hay, so he's been getting both. I've been pretty hands off with this guy, so it's only the second time he's worn a halter for me. We sneakily exit his pen and lock the neighbor horse inside. I have a feeling that she is not going to be happy when her new friend is gone. But it looks like this guy is pretty excited to get out and see a little bit more of the area. He conquered the scary narrow bridge pretty handily. He hopped in the trailer and started munching on his snack. He did have a little bit more to say than I was expecting. He has been pretty chill, and I didn't think he really liked that other horse. Before we head out, I am going to go ahead and let her out. With Huckleberry riding shotgun, we are off to the vets. I always like to make sure I'm a little bit early, especially with a new horse, just so they can settle in a little bit. He seemed to be back to his normal chill self by the time we reached the vet. I am pretty happy about how clean he stayed after his grooming session the other day. I'm gonna give him some time to chill and go fill out some paperwork, and by that time it should be his turn to see the vet. He was a super good boy getting into the stocks. We closed him in. The vet gave him a once over, listened to all of his vitals, which were totally normal. The main objective of his visit today is to have his teeth looked at, so he did get some drugs.
Oh, buddy, it's okay.
He is getting a little bit on the sleepy side. In order to have a thorough dental, these horses need to be sedated. They need a mouth speculum. If the vet cannot see inside their mouth, then they don't have a very good shot at doing a good job. This fancy apparatus that he's wearing right now is the speculum, and it will just help hold his mouth open so the vet can see inside. He gets a little rinse of his mouth, and then we get the first peek of what is going on with his teeth. Although I was worried about the left side of his mouth, it looks like this jaggedy tooth on the right side is the culprit. I pulled a bunch of pictures of my other horse's teeth for you guys. The teeth on the left are not floated, and the teeth on the right have been floated. Here is another look at this guy's giant spike tooth. This is a shot of little Gus's teeth, and you can see how they're all nicely aligned. Here is a peek inside Nigel's mouth, and you can see he has a pretty big spike on the top and then a valley underneath. If you look very closely on the top, there is also a bad tooth. That is the one that he had removed this year. Horses have what is called hypsodont teeth, so they continually erupt throughout their lives. As horses age and there's no more tooth to come out, that is where you can run into a lot of problems. Here is another view of a normal set of teeth. These are Gus's teeth this year. And here is a similar view to what we're getting of the new guy. Just to refresh your memory, this is what his tooth looks like. The tooth opposite of this one has actually stopped erupting and is ground down. With nothing to come in contact with, the opposing tooth usually grows until it hits something solid, which can be the horse's jaw. If these are left without intervention, they can grow right into the horse's opposing jaw and cause a ton of pain. This was actually a horse that was euthanized for aggressive behavior. A regular checkup from the veterinarian very well could have saved this horse's life. As a horse ages, these routine dentals become more important. This guy looks like he has had some dental care at points throughout his life, but probably not within the last couple of years. It is hard to tell because once a tooth stops growing, the opposing tooth can shoot up relatively quickly. We managed to get to this guy right in time, and he does not need to have the opposing upper tooth pulled. We, however, were not able to get a perfect alignment in one trip. Here is what it looks like before, and it is pretty darn spiky. Here is a before and after of just that one tooth. The vet was not able to fully reduce or level out this tooth during one trip. The pulp or inside of the horse's tooth is filled with nerves and some vascular structures. It is very likely if more tooth were to be taken down, then the pulp would be exposed and this would be extremely painful. So he will have to come back in a few months and check on the tooth and see if we can reduce it even more. But this should make a huge difference in the way he's able to chew his food. While he was relaxed and sedated, we got a good look at his undercarriage. Since he does have a few melanomas on his tail, we wanted to do a thorough inspection of those as well. Luckily, we only found the few that I have already seen, which are quite small. The most common treatment that my veterinarian does for these is removal by laser during their yearly dental. I don't want to risk any more popping up, so we're just going to leave them alone for now. We did run some basic blood work and pull blood to send off for a vitamin E test. Them gophers? I did also get him a round of Adequan, which is an injectable joint medication, which is the same medication that Skeletor got to help with his arthritis. When we were done at the vet, I did stop by the barn to feed the horses. The new guy just stood on the trailer. He needed about an hour or two to wake up from his dental, so he can just stand and chill while I do all my evening chores.
Okay. Gotta wake up.
He is relatively awake, but still not awake enough to eat food. He needs to be fully awake before I offer him any food so he doesn't choke. I haven't really looked at the weather too closely, and we were supposed to get a few little drizzles here and there. Unfortunately, Nigel has really sprung to life with the new mash recipe I've been giving him. He still does have quite a bit of his winter hair. He gave me the runaround for about 10 minutes until I decided to give up and feed the other horses and bring Skeletor inside. This little turd obviously is not concerned about the little sprinkle that we're having, so he can stay outside if he really wants to.
You're killing me, Nigel.
This little storm should be the last one of the season, and then I can go ahead and clip the rest of Nigel's body. I think maybe I've been smothering him a little bit too much lately because he obviously doesn't want anything to do with me right now. He does have that little windbreak and his sunshade, which he absolutely loves. And while it's not enough cover for a big winter storm, it is more than enough for the tiny little storm we have coming up. It is actually not even supposed to be below freezing for the next couple of days. I loaded up a special mash for the new guy's dinner and then breakfast. He looks like he's getting a little bit more awake. I was a little bit surprised with how good he was on the trailer by himself. Frisco was more than happy to dispose of the extra treats I had in my pocket from the vet visit. He has also been digging the new mash recipe.
Tiny? Hi, girl. What are you doing?
Tiny came out of the tack room to gripe at me about the weather. She really likes toasting up under these super bright lights.
Sorry.
This bad weather should only last about 48 hours, so these guys are just going to have to hang in there for the real spring weather that we're going to have next week.
Tiny.
With all of the horses fed and everybody tucked in for the night, it looks like I am ready to head back to the quarantine pen. I have finally decided on a name for this guy, which I will reveal in the next video. He is not a very serious horse, even though he's pretty chill most of the time. He acts like a much younger dude, so his name is going to reflect that. He did seem pretty excited to get back to his pen and reunite with his mare. He is pretty awake now, so he can go right back and continue eating the rest of his lunch that he didn't finish. This bridge is pretty narrow and scary. It's also quite high off of the ground when the creek is low, and this guy just didn't seem to care one bit.
Sorry.
Even though this mare was really excited to see him, he did not seem to care one bit about her. With how energized this guy is, even with his bad tooth, I have a sneaking suspicion that he's gonna be too saucy to keep Skeletor company and calm throughout the summer.
Buddy?
I hadn't really thought about it before, but Skeletor could just stay back here by himself and have this mare to keep him company all summer. I'll have a better idea in a week or two if these guys are going to be a good match, or I'm just going to have to figure something else out. I am really excited we didn't have to pull any teeth. The vet did mention that there's no reason for this guy to have to get mash anymore, but I'm going to continue to give it to him just so I know exactly what he's eating. He will still get free choice alfalfa until his top line and muscles are a little bit more plumped up. At the time of this video, I've actually only had him about 9 days. So for that short amount of time, I think he looks worlds different from when I first picked him up. I think dental care is one of the most important things that you can get done for a rehab horse like this. And it's something that I always figure into the upcoming costs of these guys. I told you guys I would share with you how much this little dude was costing me, and his visit to the vet today, when it was said and done, cost around $1,000, a little bit over. I do have 2 other videos of dentals being done on my regular horses, so I'll link them in the description if anybody's interested in seeing those. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.